Hello friends and welcome back. Well, I'm continuing my little mini series sharing some oracle decks that I created over the past many months, probably 12 months all in all. And finally I had them printed out just a week ago and I'm really enjoying using them. And I thought, look, all in the name of sharing, and perhaps they may inspire you to create something for yourself. And for any of you who missed the previous videos, so this is deck number 3, but I was just saying that I found it a little bit difficult to find decks that suited my needs when it comes to the keywords. Artwork, not a problem. There are so many stunningly beautiful decks around, both independently produced as well as mass market. But I did find that I would constantly be stumbling upon the same keywords over and over again. So I decided to create something that that covers a lot of experiences that I've seen in life. I was inspired by conversations, by experiences, by quotes, all sorts of things. And that's the beauty of creating a deck for yourself. You can put in whatever you choose. So this is another 36 card deck, and you'll see I've got a little box behind. That's because there's a deck in here, and I've already done a walkthrough of this deck, and I will place it below. But you can see it's the same backing, which seems a little bit silly, right? Well, there's a story that goes with it, and I'll give you the story as the backstory as quickly as I possibly can. So this deck originally, the decks range from, I think, 12 cards minimum to 108 maximum, if I remember correctly. And I think this one was around 56 or whatever it is at the time. But as I explained in my first video, there are so many beautiful free stock images. I just kept collecting more and decided to grow the deck a little bit more. I had so many ideas for prompts. Why not? It's fine. And aside from that, I always envisaged having a basket, which I found in one of my little local charity shops. This one here. And I thought, fantastic. I'll just make a large oracle deck, fill the basket, and in a group setting, you can hand that basket around. And because they're bridge size, they're so easy, and clients can just draw as many as they see fit. They may feel that 2 is appropriate today. They may feel 6 is appropriate next week. But that was the whole idea of just being able to fill a basket with these oracle cards, and people can make their own storyboards, and we sit together and discuss what we see. So to carry that just a little bit further, I thought, well, what's something I can do? I've got chakra cards in there. Well, you know, that's nice, but it's nothing out of the ordinary. Maybe I can also create a little group that has a particular theme. So I came up with the bee cards, and I decided maybe 10 to 12. And as you can see, they all have the same backing. And these are not designed to be heavy in any way. It's just more like a little positive prompt, a timely reminder. Hey, in this case, you may need to be patient. Be resourceful. Be responsible. Be practical. Be honest. Be grateful. Be careful. Be willing. Be considerate. I did have more, but I cut it back. I thought that's enough. And yeah, they're just like a little reminder regarding the practical aspects of life. And as like the card says, be honest. So sometimes we perhaps are in a little bit of denial over things like this, but it's not to pull you down or guiltify you in any way. It's just pointing out a situation. It could be regarding yourself. It could be regarding someone else. So that was all very well. I had these printed, and then later on I thought, what a shame I didn't think about a counterbalance. Why not add 10 to 12 cards that maybe are a little bit tricky, a little bit more confronting, something a little more challenging. So if there is a prickly situation, one of these cards could come up. So I decided to create 12 cards, which, if I remember correctly, that is the minimum, just with those prompts on that I had in mind. And then I thought, well, that's just silly in a way, because the freight will cost more than the deck itself. A deck of 12 cards costs next to nothing. Why not just make another 36 cards and add it? So yes, it is going to be a monster deck, but it's going to go in the basket, so it doesn't matter. So I created another 36 card deck. Now, just to clarify for you, the confronting cards, a little bit more, well, you'll see just by the backing alone. So we've got things like irritable, irresponsible, arrogant, deceitful, controlling, uncharitable, inconsistent, ignorant, judgmental, pretentious, disrespectful, and capricious. Once again, I did have more, but I think there's 9. I ended up condensing it. I thought that's enough, because that's the thing. You don't want the whole deck swimming with these things. So there's quite a decent balance. So when I received this second 36 card deck, I was super excited until I realized. Now, I would describe myself as a person with an eye for detail. I used to edit music files, like WAV files, really tricky, okay? Yet I made such a stupid mistake. Check this out. Hello. Are they the same size? No, they are not. This is Bridge. I've created 2 decks a few years ago, Bridge. How on earth did I miss the fact that I created a 108 card deck in Poker Landscape? I cannot answer that question for you. I wish I could. I must have been losing my mind, because I checked and I checked again. Oh my goodness. So what I ended up with is this wonderful 108 card deck, which includes, includes the B series, as I call it. Then I've got another little 36 card deck, and 9 of them are tricky. It's too many, because I thought, well, you can just use this other deck alone, but with 9 of them, with pointy prompts like that, it's just, no, that doesn't really work for me. So what I decided to do was print another 36 card. So here is the original, which I have a walkthrough of. Once again, I can place below. And I'm, as I said, very happy with the way it turned out. But I thought, ooh, there's just too many that are, pointing in the one direction. So I need to bring some positivity into the other deck. So what I have to do at the end of the day, these can all be placed in the basket together, even though they're slightly different sizes. They are the same length, they're just a different height. But it's, not the end of the world. Or I can just simply ignore the fact that the backings are the same. And I now have 2 decks with the same backing. So I've got a 72 card deck here and a 108 there. So that is my decision, was just create another one. I did ask Printer Studio if they could just reprint this one. Can we just shrink it down to a bridge size card job lot? And they said no, you have to go back and do each one separately, which means not only do I have to source the images each, like one at a time, I think, but I would have to go through one at a time and put the keywords back. And I thought, you know what, that is just not worth it. I would rather create another deck altogether. So thank you for bearing with me, but at least that now makes sense, I hope. So I'll show you the new deck that I just had printed. Let's see how we can make this a little easier for you. Maybe zoom in a little. Just sort of trying to bring the lighting down a little bit for you. That's a bit better. Okay, so this one here is a very special card. I'm just going to place that up here and I'll come back to it because there's a bit of a story that goes with that. So, Soul Sisters. Kind of reminds me in a sense of the Three of Cups sort of vibe. Try something new. It may be the launching pad to your greatest calling. There is a gift on its way. Now, it may be a physical gift. It could be an internal one. It could be circumstantial. Fact or fiction. Really interesting image, this one. So I titled this one Futile. And this person certainly looks like they've got their back to another. They're walking away. And it's like this shadow. This person's sort of stooped over. Oh, this is not good. This is not going to end well. It's no. Forget it. Happy new beginning. They're a little bit slippery. Superior smooth. I'm sorry, it's looking a little bit grainy, yet it's not dark at all. The sun's still shining. I'll do my best for you. And some focus would be really good also. Lost in space. I love this image. I had this prompt in my mind and I could not for the longest time find an image that I liked. And then this one popped up out of nowhere. I love it. A plan you have been working on for a long time is beginning to take shape. Spend time thinking about what you're going to do and how you're going to get there. Misguided. So it's all very well to do some shopping and shout yourself a treat, but if you think that's going to heal your wounds or make that situation any different, well, it's not. Sorry. Not sorry. This one here, I had to change a few times. It's not meant to be aggressive at all. Detach yourself from their hollow speeches and their empty promises. In your mind's eye, calmly crush their words and scatter them like ashes. So I had to put in your mind's eye, calmly crush. So it's not saying you crush their words and you get this, that, and I felt like it was coming across that way initially. It's not about revenge, but it's just saying don't even waste your time. Do not allow yourself to sink because of their empty promises and their judgment. Like they are not worth your time. So just like a grain of sand, just let it fall through your fingers. That's the idea. It's about allowing the person to get their strength back, to reconnect to their inner power. Don't let it pass you by. Act now. I wanted a card called Delay, and I love airports, absolutely love them. But just due to the way the window frames are here, I ended up going with Hold Up just because the letters fit in there nicely. You know you're playing with fire, right? It's okay to seek validation from time to time. However, do consider who you are seeking validation from and why. Remember, you have the final say and you can change your mind at any time. You don't need anyone to endorse, defend, or approve your decision, nor should you rely on others. Simply take their advice as an option or something to keep in mind. Above all, recognize your own worth. So obviously this card is suggesting seek validation if you need to, but know your limits. Like it's not all about what they think and what they say. Their philosophy or their advice isn't gospel. You're the only one who knows what's right for you. This is one I changed a dozen times. I really like this woman's expression, but I found it quite challenging to decide on a prompt for this one. Anyway, this is what I ended up with. It's empowering to take responsibility for your life. Sorry, I'll read that again. It's empowering to take responsibility for your life. So obviously this is geared towards someone who hasn't been. And we just wanted to add a little push, a little poke here. Choose to be optimistic and take action. So they're not doing that. And don't forget, you are brimming with potential and inspiration. So we're just trying to help someone get back on track there. They've just certainly lost their way. But they're not helping themselves because they're not taking responsibility for the part they played in the situation. Money issues. Uh-oh. This I love. Expect the unexpected. The image came before the prompt in this case, but I just love it. It's like, ringing someone like your neighbour. I hate to tell you, Jerry, but there's a zebra in your front yard and, well, they're drinking the water out of your bird bath. There's what? I love it. This is another beautiful image. You are not selfish for distancing yourself from people who drain you. So obviously this is a person who feels guilty for stepping back when they shouldn't. Okay, this is like 8 of Wands. Take action now. Okay, 3 things you need to change or improve. Go. This is one of my favourite quotes. Chase down your passion like it's the last bus of the night. And boy, did I find it hard to find a picture of a bus, well, this is a coach, that I really liked. So there were plenty of images with a bus just down a city street, all very average. And I just kept looking, which is the thing to remember when you're using these free stock images. Just keep going back. Because this didn't come up in so many searches and I almost gave up. And then one day I went back and there it was. So things are always unfolding and changing. This is an image that just popped up when I was looking for something else and I love it. What else could you say but screw it? Trust. I had another image for this prompt and then I ended up going with the house. I love both of the images. It was very difficult for me to choose, but I thought house, 4th house in astrology is the house of home, as well as home of the emotions, the nurturing parent, the past, our roots, where we're from. And so when there's no going back, it could be something physical, it could be something emotional, and often it's both. So it may be about family, but not necessarily. But I just love that whole idea of, the 4th house in astrology is the basement. It's the most southern house. So something's been going on for quite a while and you just know it's done. It's over. You're weary. That's why life seems dull. So this person isn't feeling very well. And it could be physically as well as mentally. But the thing is they're exhausted and they don't really realize that. And so that's what they really need to attend to first. You're exhausted. Give yourself a break. Take some rest. Take some time out. And then sort out all the other stuff. So this is what I was looking for when I came across the screw it image. Multitasking is overrated, and I wanted a Swiss Army knife for that. And I just think that's so apt at the moment because, we've all been running ragged for so many years, and it's like as time goes on, we're supposed to fit more and more and more into our day. And some people are starting to say, you know what, I'm going to slow down. I want to step off the conveyor belt. I'm done. And that's why I was prompted to bring this up. So if someone draws this, obviously, if they are not aware of it mentally, their soul is calling for, a change in the routine. I'm really sorry about this focus. It's just not very good. Okay, are you living your best self? A very important question to ask. I might bring these up to the camera. This might be better. You'll start to see what you couldn't see before. So this one I was sort of tempted with the old, looking at it through rose-coloured glasses. And then I thought, no, such a cliche. How about the other way? You actually can see now. What are you hiding from? A dog with Groucho Marx glasses. I love it. This one may be a little hard to take sometimes. So the moon, like the house I was showing you before, the moon rules the 4th house of emotions. And this is the dark side of the moon. So it may be a little bit of an emotional trigger for some people, but they need to know. Honestly, they don't really care. So this is saying on the outside, this is what you're seeing. There's the performance. But on the dark side of the moon, there's something completely different. It could be that the querent actually suspects that they don't really care, the person or people that they're dealing with. And this card confirms that. So that's going to assist them, even if it's hard to take. It should assist them to move forward and make some decisions that's going to help them on their way. And here's a good one to go with it. You'll come out of this just fine. So drowning in emotions at the moment, drowning in the uncertainty, but you'll be fine, don't you worry. I love this image, regression. Sometimes when life gets too tough, we start behaving like we were 30 years younger than we are. It's just, that might be okay for one crazy Sunday afternoon, but hey, yes, we've got to remember you're not a kid anymore. But that's what people do, right? When they can't cope, they start behaving like a child. I think she's absolutely gorgeous. From this perspective of this little girl, like she's quite the lady, isn't she? I think it's a wonderful image. Something is missing. So instead of going with the jigsaw puzzle, which, you know, is pretty normal, I was pleased to find this image. And lastly, but not leastly, well, second lastly, patterns. So that could be a good thing or it could be something tricky. Now, this is the last card, as I mentioned to you before. This is a dedication to a beautiful young woman that I saw on America's Got Talent. I don't actually watch TV. However, I do watch YouTube clips, and especially while I'm doing my paperwork, I will often listen to some of the amazing auditions, especially the young people, the children, and just, you know, so many incredibly gifted people in this world. And one day, this young woman appeared, and her stage name is Nightbirde. And she sang this beautiful song that she wrote herself called It's Okay. And as some of you will know, the judges always ask them a little bit about themselves. And as it turns out, she had been on a long journey with cancer. And they said, "How are you?" And she said, "I'm okay," which is the song. That's what the song is all about. But as the conversation continued and she elaborated a little bit more, one of the judges asked, "Well, how are you right now?" And she said, "Well, last time I looked, there was cancer in my liver, in my lungs, and a little bit in my spine." And of course, the judges were just blown away and said, "Well, clearly you're not fine." And she said, "Well, you can't wait until life isn't difficult anymore before you decide to be happy," because she was so happy. And she looked beautiful. Her eyes were bright. Her skin was flawless. A beautiful looking girl. You would not know anything's wrong other than, I would suggest, she was quite underweight. So obviously she wasn't 100%, but she looked amazing. And she went on to sing this song, which was just beautiful. And I cried. The judges cried. She ended up getting the golden buzzer, which she deserved. So obviously she went through to the next round and beyond, I imagine. I don't know because I don't watch the show. But what they did was they ended up airing a little Zoom link up with her because she ended up leaving the show. She decided that she needed to concentrate on her health. And so they just wanted to check in and see how she was. And she looked amazing and she was happy and bright and really quite sprightly, which was lovely to see. But subsequently to that, I stumbled upon a couple of videos that she made, and when she was okay, but you could see she'd gone downhill a little bit, and then another video where clearly she was very unwell and very uncomfortable. And I heard that she passed away in, I think it was February this year. So I will always remember Nightbirde, and she's just such an inspiration, and so I wanted to create a card and dedicate that to her. So I had this in mind. We all hurt, we all suffer, and we all have the potential to overcome. So I decided to combine them into one card, and I just love the fact that this is a woman sitting there looking out over the beautiful mountain range, and you can't see her face. And to me, that is beautiful Nightbirde. And I do believe her name was Jane. Absolutely gorgeous. In fact, if I can find that clip again, when she's singing her song, I will place it below. So that's it, my friends. That is my third deck. There's a bit of a long story, as you can see. But, you know, it's... well, I just hope it all makes sense. So I've got this deck. It's all just part of the journey is what I was about to say. And I've got this big chunky mama, and I've got this deck, and now they are one. And I'm very excited to give them a good old shuffle up and use them. You can see, this is slightly disappointing. See the difference in the colour? Yeah, same backing, but it's, see, that one has a little bit more of a sort of a grey blue hue, and this one here is more lilac hue. This is the new one. This is true to form. The image I kept, and this is exactly what it should look like. So the first print run wasn't quite there. I would suggest that the camera exaggerates it just a little. It doesn't look quite that bad in reality, but it was a little bit disappointing. But honestly, once they're all shuffled up, seriously, I am not going to care, because it's what's on the other side that really counts. Anyway, I will leave it at that, since this has been a rather long video. Thank you again. Sorry about the lighting not being perfect. So I have another deck coming. I look forward to chatting with you then. In the meantime, much love.